which he would have if he'd been convicted of all of those, including the murders, was far higher than it is now, where he's served most of his sentence and he thinks he's got a very good chance of getting out, especially given what the Court of Appeal said yesterday. So I think his means and ability to flee are less, and his incentive to flee are less. I think there's very little chance he'll even think about it.
Well, the door is open on a particularly interesting new chapter. We wait to see what happens with that appeal. Justin Quill, thanks for joining us.
Thanks, Justin. Well, time was almost up for TikTok in the United States, with a nationwide ban set to come into effect tonight.
But at the 11th hour, President Donald Trump has extended the deadline again. So for more, we are joined by First Amendment lawyer Jeff Lewis in Los Angeles. Jeff, good morning to you. Bring us up to speed. What's the latest?
Yeah, President Trump's announced that he's going to extend the deadline for TikTok to divest itself. And so everyone has eyes on how these tariffs that have been passed might impact the business negotiations to spin off TikTok.
All right, now Amazon, Jeff, is one of several bidders throwing their hats in the ring. Is that being taken seriously?
In the business community, absolutely. Amazon has the resources to do this deal, but TikTok's parent company, the owners, ByteDance, they haven't spoken out one way or another. So we don't know if it is being taken seriously by the Chinese government.
If Amazon was to purchase the social media platform, then what would happen?
Well, then the devil's in the details. You'd have to see, does the code used by the new Amazon TikTok in the United States and elsewhere have problems regarding the algorithm and security concerns regarding privacy issues and the data that's on your phone? So we'd have to take a look at the code.
Yeah, well, it comes down to Americans trusting that their data will be safer. Can they do that under a new owner?
It depends on how much control, if any, that the Chinese government has. If it's a brand new owner and brand new code, and the Chinese government doesn't have a say in the algorithm or the data that comes off the phones, users are probably in a safe position, but who knows?
Who knows indeed. We'll wait and see what happens next. Thank you so much for joining us.
All right, time now for Today Property Watch. Forget about clean lines and minimalism. Aussie homeowners are increasingly stepping back in time by embracing retro fit-outs over modern design.
I love this. Joining us now for more is Domain property editor Alice Stoltz in Melbourne. Alice, good morning to you. Why are we seeing more retro houses on the market?
Good morning, Ali. Good morning, Tim. Well, look, really, because they're utterly fabulous, and the potential to unlock them and restore them to their former glory is, I think, so tempting for so many people. But the best bit is they're also very affordable. We have a decent amount of supply in them in most of our cities, and I think we're knowing how much, particularly first-home buyers, are being impinged by affordability pressures. These are a way to get into the market, and they can also be sort of done up bit by bit in a more slow and, careful process.
The aqua bathroom tiles with the black border edge. Gotta love that. Talk us through some of the standout features, Alice.
Yeah, I love that colour, Tim, isn't it? And that's what I think people love about them. There's a certain sort of spirit of fun in these houses, but pastel colours, those wonderful tiles, terrazzo floors, lots of wood panelling, a built-in bar in your sitting room, breakfast nooks with a little booth built into them, and they've always got these sort of like 60s or 70s radios built into them. They're literally like a time capsule, but I think when you see the work that some people do to them and the value they get when it comes to selling, you can really understand the desirability of them.
So, Alice, what should buyers look out for if they are interested in buying a retro-style property?
Well, the good news is these houses were pretty well made. It's not like buying a house that's over 100 years old where things are a little bit different then. One thing that is important to bear in mind, though, is often insulation isn't what it is today. Things like single glazing windows, you'll probably need to start looking at ensuring the heating's up to scratch. Also, sometimes there was lead used in paint if it's pre-1970s, asbestos and things like that. So there are hazardous materials that you have to be aware of if you're restoring that house. And ultimately, all that wood joinery, I often think, what's hiding behind that surface? So an inspection's absolutely crucial, but it'd have been an amazing project if you're up for the challenge.
Yes, what's eating all that wood away? All right, let's talk auction numbers and clearance rates this weekend, Alice.
Pretty good weekend for auction states. The last probably big weekend for Melbourne and Queensland, knowing they're on school holidays now. Over 1,000 auctions in Melbourne, 940 in Sydney, 100 in Brisbane and 98 in Adelaide. And again, that will taper next week when the rest of the states go on school holidays. Now, clearance rates last weekend came in pretty well given the volume that we had. 65% in Sydney and Adelaide, 62% in Melbourne and 43% in Brisbane.
What about the most expensive and affordable sales, Alice?
Guys, there was a whopper sale in Mossman in Sydney last weekend. This was a deceased estate, and these sales always bring a lot of people out of that woodwork, and there were actually 7 bidders on this home. It sold for $16.1 million. Doesn't that just amaze you? At a public auction, these are the numbers that people hurl around. I think we can pretty much say it's going to be knocked down and rebuilt as a probably pretty spectacular trophy home. And the most affordable sale was over in Melbourne, in the eastern suburbs in Blackburn. A low-rise modern apartment sold for $300,000 right near the train station, and it came with a parking spot.
Oh, I love that. Got all the mod cons as well. All right, now you found some unique homes on the market for us this week as well, Alice.
We do. If you're one of those people who love those sort of brownstone homes in New York, have a look at this one. This is a standalone freestanding house in the middle of the city in Melbourne. It's 2 bed, 2 bath, but over 3 levels. It's on the market for $4 to $4.4 million. It's got its own little courtyard, and it's undergone an amazing transformation, but it's certainly only a handful of standalone houses on that market in Melbourne. Heading to Sydney now for something quintessentially gorgeous and stylish. This is in North Bondi, in that beautiful golden triangle part of the calmer part of Bondi. A stunning 4-bedroom house, which is a bit like a tropical oasis with that beautiful pool out there and that kind of lush Bondi feel. It's quite gorgeous. That $7 million for that one. And now heading up now to the Sunshine Coast in Queensland. This house is called Chateau Emmanuel. It's a mashup of kind of Italian, French style, 10-acre luxury estate, guys. It's got a pool. This even has apparently an armoire in the powder room where guests can put their handbags. It was modelled off the people who built it. Used to have a huge estate in South Africa, and they built a replica of that here, and it's on the market for around $11 million plus, guys.
Wow. Gosh, you feel like you're on a European holiday. Actually, you know what? A European holiday is a lot more affordable than that place.
It's not my kind of European holiday, Ali.
But I do always love your property porn segment, as I like to call it. Alice Stoltz,
So good.
thank you so much.
Thanks, Alice.
Thank you, guys.
Plenty more still to come on Weekend Today. Just ahead, Russell Brand responds after being charged with several serious criminal offences.
Plus, a major cyber attack hits Aussie super funds. What you need to know to protect your nest egg.
Also ahead, meet the Sydney man travelling the world on a real-life treasure hunt.
And the team behind a Minecraft movie open up about the star-studded blockbuster. You're waking up with Weekend Today on 9 and 9 Now. We're back in just a moment.